Good morning, good day, good evening. Hello, my treasure, and welcome back to another game talking video. And in today's game talking video, I want to talk about all the games that I have completed in the past 365 days. And let me explain why I don't say 2025. That has to do with my gaming year runs from the 1st of December 2024 until the 1st of December 2025, because that is when I recap my gaming year and look back at all the wonderful games that I have completed over the past 365 days. And wow, I am amazed how many games I have actually completed. And with completed, I mean I have rolled credits on it, and with some games I've even done 100%. That has mostly to do with visual novel games, because visual novel games, you know, you want to go all the different routes. So those games I particularly go for the 100%. But more action styled games, I am fine with not beating the game at ultra difficulty, because you know what? I don't want to hurt myself, okay? I like playing my games and enjoying them. I don't like hurting myself, okay? So now that we're clear on the concept of what I mean with completing my games, let me give you the grand total of completed games for the past 365 days. And that is, ta-da! I have completed 65 games. Yes, I know. I'm very proud of myself. Woohoo! I've had 65, well, I think most of them beautiful experiences and games which I really want to talk more about. So yeah, let's get into the first game that I completed in my past gaming year. The first game that I completed was on the 2nd of December 2024, and that was Famicom Detective Club Emio, the Smiling Man. And that was a game that was at that point in time recently released, and I love detective visual novels. So I was like, this sounds interesting. Let me get that one. And oh my gosh, I am not disappointed in that game. Still, I think well, it's a very dark story, right? But I think very fondly back in running through that story and experiencing that story. I don't want to get into a lot of details, because then I'm gonna spoil the story, but this is something that I definitely recommend if you like detective visual novels. I rated this game a 95%, where I only gave it 5% deduction, because there were maybe 1 or 2 points where I was completely stuck, and it took me a while to figure out where I had to go. And there was like, okay, was it me or was it the game? But you know what? In the end, I concluded it was the game's fault. So therefore, they got the 5% deduction from the perfect 100% score. But awesome game. It's actually a game I'm debating, you know, like in a couple of years, replaying the story again, because it's just a very gripping story. And yeah, I really recommend playing this one. Then the next one is a part, of course, I love playing cultured games. So that is a live stream to escape from Togaezuka Happy Place. Yes, here you follow a group of 3 live stream girls who go to a shopping mall in honor of the previous episode. So the original live stream, where of course they went to a scary building or a scary hotel. In this one, they are going to a scary mall, and there they will be chased by something very disturbing. And yes, you get the occasional panty shot, which of course is part of this type of cultural game. It is a escape horror game where basically you need to escape the ever looming doom upon you. This game has multiple endings, and well, basically everything is a bad ending except for the one true ending. The one true ending you can only get by doing specific things in specific order, and also of course going through some of the bad endings. And by unlocking everything, I have 100%ed this game because, yes, I did complete everything because I did want to get one good ending, right? And there was only one good ending in this game. The other ones were all bad. So therefore, this game I completed on the 11th of December. I rated it at 85 because actually I really enjoyed the game. But there were some things where I was like, I don't know. The fact that it only had one, good ending and all the other endings were really bad. I was like, no. You could have given me 2 good endings instead of only one, right? Now I have to play it so many times to get that one good ending. So yeah, that's why I got some points deductions, but still, I really enjoyed these cultured games. And if I'm looking at, I always look at the amount of time. So, by the way, Famicom Detective Club, that took me 14 hours and 45 minutes to go to the complete story, get everything. With a live stream, that took me roughly around 7 hours to get all the endings. And yes, for the final ending, I did use a guide because I went through it and I kept on getting the bad endings. So in the end, I really needed to have a guide to get the one true ending. So yes, I cheated a bit on this one, but I did complete it in 7 hours. Then the next game, which I completed on the 16th of December, is Kotodama, The 7 Mysteries of Fujisawa. Yes, this apparently is also a game which falls under the cultural lineup. And it even, it features, of course, a lot of girls, but there is even also a boy in there where you get to experience some interesting cutscenes. Let's leave it at that. But this again is also a visual novel where you also have multiple endings, and actually, if you get a bad ending, kind of the game rewinds itself again, and then you have to start all over again and make different decisions. So yeah, this game was actually, it took me quite a while to get through this game. Because you need to get all the characters at a certain level. You need to unlock certain things for various characters. And only once you have completed everything will you get the one true ending. And yeah, that took quite some time to get everything. And this one, I spent almost 30 hours on. Yes, I know. This was a very long game. And yeah, after that, I was really like, am I done with visual novels? But no. Up came. So suddenly my beautiful copy of Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney Trilogy came in. And I was like, okay, I'm going to start the Ace Attorney trilogies. So basically, the remainder of December and almost the complete of January, I was playing the Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney trilogy, which had, of course, 3 games on it, which was, of course, Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney, Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney Justice for All, and Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney Trials and Tribulations. All of them I completed, got everything out of it, and that took me, those 3 games took me 75 hours. Yes, I know, the hurt, but it was an amazing journey. I loved every second of it. And a lot of people say that these are actually the worst Ace Attorney games. I don't know what they are talking about, but these Ace Attorney games really got me completely hooked on Ace Attorney. And as you can see on the back, I even have there an Ace Attorney blanket. I have so much Ace Attorney merch because of this, like these first 3 games. And I'm also currently playing, but I'm playing that together with my daughter, so it's going a bit slower. But I'm also playing the other Ace Attorney games. So, but those are still, like in the, I don't want to say in the backlog, but they are in the playing section now, but it's taking a bit longer to complete them. But the first 3 games, yeah, I love them. I love the characters. I love the story. Phoenix, Miles, they're just great. I can't say anything about it. If you've played a Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney game, you know what I'm talking about, and you know that these are awesome games to play. But yeah, that took me quite a while to complete, which, like I said, it took me 1.5 months to complete those 3 games because they are not short games. Especially the first game. The first game took me around 30 hours to complete because there's the first game and there's like an additional stuff that is also included on the card, which has a big DLC on it. So yeah, it took quite a while to complete that one, but definitely worth it. I rated this one 100%. I love it. There's that nothing needed to change. The stories, the characters, everything's just perfect. I love it. I recommend it. By the way, the Kotodama one, I rated that one 80. That had to do with the looping, which in this case, it kind of got annoying after a while. So that's why it got some points reductions. Then, after having done so many visual novels and detective stuff, I was like, I'm ready for something else. Up came along Amedama. And Amedama is a side-scrolling action game where you play as a boy who has just died and wants to save his sister from, like a bad ending, and you take over the bodies of other people and run through the story in order to save your sister. However, you need to go through this game again. Yes, I know, right? I said it's an action game. It is an action game, but it's heavy story focused because you need to go multiple times to this game and take over multiple types of people and change the course of time in order for you in 5 days, if I'm not mistaken. But it's been almost a year, right, since I played it. I think it's 5 days in which you need to change the course and have, like the good ending. There are multiple endings in this game. There's, of course, the one true ending. I went for the one true ending. That took me, and I have the exact time here, 17 hours and 56 minutes and 43 seconds to get the the perfect ending, the good ending, where everything has been resolved and you have helped everybody also get their justice, because if you do stuff in a wrong order, some people will die, and then basically if they die, that basically means that you cannot get the good ending because they need to be alive, because they need to do certain stuff. So yeah, it's an interesting game. Is it hard? No. But again, it has looping in it. And after a while, the looping becomes annoying. And you need to go through the whole story again. If you make one mistake, you need to go through the whole story again to correct that mistake. And I didn't use a guide when I was playing this one. So it was kind of hard to figure everything out. My recommendation would be, once you've gone twice or 3 times through the story, just use a guide. Okay, don't be like me. Don't be an idiot. Just use a guide to get, the one true ending. Don't try to figure it out yourself because you're afraid of spoilers. Once you've gone through it 2-3 times, basically how all the stories and what, everybody is about, right? And what their secrets are. So after that, there's not a lot to spoil. So just, take a guide, okay? Just don't be like me, because I was afraid that I would be spoiled, and I don't like spoilers. Well, not in games that I'm actively playing. I mean, I don't mind seeing a spoiler in a game that I might play in a year from now. But if I see a spoiler of a game I'm actively playing, that's what I don't like. So therefore, yeah, this game, use a guide, okay? That's just my advice. Well, after, I gave it an 80, right? So the action game, I was like, you know what? I'm going back again to detective visual novels because I did not have enough yet. And then came the Hokkaido Rensa Satsujin Ohotsuku ni Kiyu Tsuioku no Ryuuhyou. Okay, that's a very long name. Okay, just so you know. Anyway, a very weird game that this got an English translation, because this is a Japanese game, and actually this game was already released a long time ago. This is a remake of it. And actually on the game, you have also the original. So the original version of it with, like old school pixel art. But this is the completely remastered version of it. And it also includes a new section in it where it just, it centers around a case that happened back in the 80s. And the game starts where you as a old detective, old policeman detective, go back to Hokkaido to meet certain people who you've, worked on with the case together back in the 80s. And this happens, like at the end, I think at the end of 2024 or 2023, that like the new section start off. So what they did is they left the original case completely intact of the 80s and made a new case also for the 2020s, which, awesome, right? How they make this remake. The only downside of it is it really is an old school game. And I don't know if you've played old school visual novel games in the past or point and click games in the past. I have, because I'm old, right? And I used to play those games. So I really loved it. But there were also points in time where I was like, oh yeah, this is sometimes where I get frustrated and started throwing with stuff when I was a kid. Because this game does have certain elements that really remind you of games back in the, like end 80s, early 90s point and click games where, like sometimes what you need to do is not very obvious, okay? And then you have a feeling that you've already done it by the time you figured it out. And you're like, why didn't it not take the first time, right? I went there already. I clicked on that. But then you just, like minutely click miss according to the game. And then, like it doesn't register it. It says, nope, you didn't click on it. No. So... But yeah, this game also has that with a couple of conversations. You need to do conversations in a certain way with certain characters. And sometimes you're like, but I already had a conversation with them. You need to have another conversation, or you need to show another piece of evidence, or you need to show that piece of evidence 7 times, because only at the 7th time will they say, I remember something about that. And then you're like, why do I need to show the 7 times before you remember it? I'm exaggerating, okay? But there is a point somewhere in this game, I remember that I had to do something multiple times, and it was absolutely not obvious that I had to do that multiple times. But apart from that, the story is amazing. Also, the gameplay itself works very well. The original game is only in Japanese, as in with the old graphics, right? But the new game with, of course, the old story, that is completely in English. I had no problem with the English translation. Everything was pretty obvious. And that's why I rated this game a 90, because, yeah, amazing. Great game. And I need to start speeding this up, because or else we're going to be sitting here for the rest of the day. So the next game I completed. Oh, by the way, this one I completed on the 1st of February. The next game that I completed on the 8th of February was Samurai Maiden. And Samurai Maiden is a semi-platform RPG type of game where you play as a high school girl who gets, like transported back to the past, Japan, and need to save the world, basically. And there are 3 other girls which are also there from also other, well, one is from that era and 2 are from different worlds. And together with those girls, you need to basically save Japan, what's new, and the world in the end. And this game was marketed towards me because it says, like, it's a Yuri game. It's a Yuri game. You'll love it. It's not a Yuri game, okay? It's the typical, like a girl who says to another girl, you're so pretty, you're so gorgeous, I love you, but not in a not in a really, like, I love you, I want to marry you type of way, right? Or I love you, I want to date you type of way. It's more of a, I love you and I care for you like a sister. Okay? There's nothing happening in this game. And the tension that people see between the characters, that's not there. By the way, she's a high school kid, okay? And apart from one other, the other ones are much older. So I was like, yeah, no, it's not there, okay? it's not a Yuri game. It doesn't even hint towards a real Yuri game. It is a nice game to play. I really enjoyed this game. And I almost completed everything. So you can also go. So there's also like a time trial that you can do in this game, but I did not do all the time trials because it didn't unlock anything. Everything from cutscenes and additional information about the characters, all those things I did unlock, and that's why this game took me more than 20 hours, so 20 hours and 15 minutes to complete. I do really like this game, so I scored this game also a 80%, which, very high. I like this game. I didn't have any problems with the game, even though it's a fast-paced game where there's a lot of action in it. Everything worked pretty cool. So, yeah, really enjoyed Samurai Maiden. It's not the best, and it was definitely marketed wrong. It's not a Yuri game, right? It's just a high school girl, trying to save the world, basically. That's it. There's no romance. The romance you're seeing there is not there. And they did include, like some spicier scenes, but they just feel kind of iffy because the character, like the main character is young. So you're like, I don't know if this is such a good idea. But other than that, it's a very nice game. Then we come to, I think, one of the few games. There's a couple of others, right? Which I had high hopes in that it would be a laughable game, but it's not. It's horrible. Okay. But I have it because it's part of the, like cultured line, and that is Panty Party. Okay. I did so much my best to get a physical copy of Panty Party. I finally managed to snag one. And I went through the story mode. I completed this game, by the way, the story mode in 3 hours. It's horrible. Okay? I can't say anything. The translation, horrible. The gameplay, horrible. The only thing that gives this game a 55%, right? It's barely hanging on. And the reason why it's barely hanging on is because it's panties fighting panties. Okay? That's funny. I had fun laughing and collecting all the panties and having the panties fight each other, right? That was funny. But other than that, the whole mechanics of this game is horrible. Okay, I was so frustrated. The aiming and everything, it's horrible. There was just one panty that I always used for all the battles because that was the only panty that I could, and this sounds so weird, right? But it is panty fighting panties, okay? Can't say anything else. But there's only one panty, and I think it's like a devil panty. That was the one panty that I was the only one which I could beat the end boss with. Well, the other ones I could not. It was too difficult. So this game, as soon as I completed story mode, it just went back into its case. It went back into the cupboard, and it's like, yeah, you stay there. You stay there and don't come out of there. Just stay there, right? You're there as a constant reminder that there are even weird games that I have difficulty liking. So yeah, Panty Party, don't recommend it. Get it only if you are like me, a collector of, like cultured games, and this is part of your cultured lineup. Then another one I bought for funsies because I thought, this sounded funny. It's, yeah, you want those games, right? So here you go. Let's see you clear them. So on the Switch, it comes with 2 games on it. This was the first game. So this one I completed on the 12th of February. Yes, we're still in February, right? I completed a lot of games in February because I played some smaller type of games in February. And yeah, this is basically those mobile games ads that you see right there. Somebody turned it into a real game. turned it into real games, right? And basically, you just need to go through all the levels to complete everything. You can also play online, but there's nobody online, right, to compete with. And yeah, I don't know. I just wanted to complete it, right? I bought it, I played it, I completed it. It's okay. It's fun. I gave it a 60%. How long did I play this for? Yeah, in 3.5 hours I completed it. It was quite. Then we move along to a game that I have been playing since then December, but I finally completed it on the 16th of February, and that's Hatsune Miku Fitness Boxing. And there, how long did I play that? It says here I played it for more than 70 hours. What I mean with completing is I unlocked everything. And that takes a long, long time because you need to do a lot of challenges. And you cannot do, you cannot, speed run all these challenges. So some challenges you can, it is how many consecutive days are you playing, this game. So yeah, it took a long time to complete this. But yeah, Hatsune Miku Fitness Boxing. Yay, I got everything. Then also in February, and I now know why I completed so many games in February, because I was traveling to Japan also, and that basically meant 13 hours one way in a plane and 14 hours back in a plane. Yeah, count, right? How many games you can complete, at least smaller games. So then we go to debut a project cooking cafe, and that is a I think it's a management. Yeah, I would say a management type of game where you basically, you manage a cafe and you need to keep your customers happy, and it's kind of like those mobile games, right? It's a fun game. I gave it a 65. It's fun to play when you're on a plane and you don't have anything else to do. And you're like, hey, I have this game. Let's play it. I completed this one in 7 hours. It's easy, right? In the end, the one thing that you had to do was, get all the recipes, expand your cafe to the max, and that was it. Then the other game that I completed 2 days after that, on the 23rd of February, is Panic at Sweetsland. I played that game for 5.5 hours, completely completed it. You play as Lime and Mint, which are two workers in a patisserie. And they get transported to Sweetsland, and there they need to save the queen. And later on, you find out some stuff that you're like, we were actually the cause of certain things. But you know what? It is what it is, right? Fun little game. Do I recommend it? If you can, find it for a bargain, it's a good, 5.5 hours playing. The visuals are nice. The gameplay is easy. Yeah, it's a fun game to play. Definitely recommend it. And then I started my journey, the Atelier journey. So I started playing Atelier Marie Remake. Yes, because I finally got my hands on a physical copy. So I was like, I finally have the physical copy, so now I need to play it. This game took me 18.5 hours. I rated this game an 85. I actually really liked it. It's, in the end, it's in a set time. Is it 5 or 6 years? You need to become, you need to graduate from the Alchemy Academy. And yeah, it's basically, you go out and fight, you gather stuff. Later on, you can use, these fairies to gather stuff for you. And it's 5 years, by the way. I was thinking, is it 5 or 6 years? But you also have continuous play, right? So you select if you wanna end at 5 years when you're done, or if you want to do continuous play. And depending, there are other characters there, and depending on how you interact with those other characters, what missions you complete, you can get various endings within this game. I did not go for all the endings because I was like, yeah, no, not gonna do that. I'm fine with having only some of the endings, and most of them are, are cute. And yeah, definitely recommend playing Atelier Marie. It's a small, for JRPG standards and for Atelier standards, it's a shortish game. I think 18 and a half hours is not short, but it's a shorter, on the shorter end game. And because after that, I was, a bit done with JRPGs, right? I played some JRPGs. I went back, of course, to visual novels because I love my visual novels. And I played Everlasting Flower. Again, a game which was marketed towards me as a Yuri visual novel. It is not. There is nothing Yuri about this game at all. It's not even shoujo ai, okay? Nothing. It's about two girls who have come both from a different environment, have a difficult situation, end up taking a summer job near a beach at a cafe where they also stay and are live-in help. And they together, through their struggles and through the help of the cafe owner, they find their way back again. Or not. I'm not going to spoil it, but there's things happening there. It's a linear game, so there's not multiple endings. There's only one ending. It really is. This is a true visual novel in all of its sense. So there is no, I don't know, different endings, which actually for this story really works well. And for this visual novel, definitely recommend this one. I gave it a 90. The only reason why I gave it not 100% is because it really is marketed as a kind of like shoujo ai Yuri visual novel, but they should not market it like that. If they would have just marketed as, two teenage girls coming of age, right, and trying to find their way in the world, then it would have been 100%. Then you would have done accurate marketing. But they just had to put that label on there because they kind of, I don't know, they sit a bit closer together and they're like, oh, I like you type of thing, right? But not the like as in dating like, right? Or as in marrying like. No, it's a type of like that a lot of girls have who are just straight, okay? So yeah, I don't know. Anyway, not at all a Yuri visual novel, just a cute shoujo visual novel. Then we go to, this was, by the way, I completed this one on the 7th of March. It was roughly, how many hours did it? Yeah, it took me 3 hours and 45 minutes. It's a very short visual novel. Like I said, it's a linear visual novel. So this one I completed in March 7th. On March 9th. Yes, I know. Only a couple of days later. But I was playing that on the side next to it. I completed, yes, I know. I'm gonna be, you're gonna judge me, okay? Don't judge me. I play cultured games, okay? I admit it. I completed Akiba Strip, Hellbound, and Debriefed. And that game took me 17 and a half hours to complete. And it's just a weird game, okay? It's an action game where you play as Akihiro Tanaka, who is bitten by a vampire and is recruited by Nero, who is against the Shadow Souls because that's what those vampires are called. And basically, you need to you need to fight the Shadow Souls. Later on, you find out that the Shadow Souls are not always as bad as you think they are, and the humans are not always as good as you think they are. But the fighting mechanic in this is quite interesting because the fighting mechanic is ripping off people's clothes. Yes, I know, right? So yeah, that's interesting. And it is part of the cultured game. Yet, when I'm looking at it, I'm like, nah, I don't feel very offended by this game. It's not that horrible. It's a fun mechanic, ripping off people's clothes. There are some things, and a lot of people say the second game is better than the first game. I haven't played the second game yet. I have the second game. I actually have it there. You see it there in the corner, right? You see it there. It's there. I have the second game. I have not played that one yet. But this game is, yeah, it's I liked it, but the only thing that I hate is when big hordes of shadow souls or humans come at you, and then you need to rip the clothes off. And then it becomes a whole mess because not every fighting mechanic works as well. And also this game again has multiple endings, and because, you know, like how the fighting goes, it's not always as good. That's why I did not go for all the endings. So I rated this one actually pretty low. I guess I was really frustrated at the end that I, you know, like didn't want to go for all the other endings. I rated this game a 65. And I think looking at my notes back again, yeah, the frustration level was very high when it came to the battle system. So yeah. Oh well, it is what it is. Then because apparently I was frustrated, I played Rose and Camille, and this is a slapping game. Okay, this is a very fun slapping game. Basically, you have the controller in your hand and you slap your opponent. So this one, I completed everything on it. And what I mean with everything is you have multiple stories that you can go to. You have the main story, then you have the story with the maid. Well, you have the main story, then you have the story of one sister, then you have the story of another sister, then you have the story of the maid, and then you have a story which is a really weird story where I'm like, huh? And basically every time you try to perfect your slapping technique. This is a game that I completed in, I think, 1.5 hours. No, okay. Apparently, I was not that good at slapping. It took me 2 hours and 15 minutes to complete all of the slapping in this game. So yeah, very much fun. I completed that one on the 15th of March. And then we move over to the 23rd of March, where I completed part 2 of Yeah, You Want Those Games, right? So here you go. Now let's see you clear them, part 2. Yeah, well, not a good game. This one was worse than the first game. Moving along, on the 28th of March, rating at a score of 85 for myself, I completed a Farmagia because yes, I was really wanted to go back again to RPGs, right? After a couple of these weird, silly games, I was like, yeah, I'm going back again to my roots, and I'm gonna play an RPG. And it's a JRPG farming, animal farming type of game. Really interesting. I love the art style. And for this one, I completed everything. I got all the stories of all the elemental spirits, right? So there are elemental spirits in there. And there is a lot of plot twists in this game. So I'm not going to go into details about this game. But Farmagia, I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed getting all the different cutscenes because you need to do certain things, right, to get all the cutscenes, especially with the elemental spirits. And yeah, I really like this game. I played this game for 50 hours and 43 minutes and 13 seconds. And that is when you have completed everything. Yeah, so I went all out. I got all the monsters. I got all the cutscenes. I got everything. This game, I went full on. I was like, yep, we're going for it. But because I played a very meaty RPG that I completed end of March, I started playing a bit of, like, let's go back to my cultured line. And then on April 6th, I completed a Bunny Garden. Yes, I know I'm guilty of playing games of the cultured variety. And Bunny Garden, absolutely love it. Every second of it. You play as a guy who has lost his job and then prowls the streets of Tokyo, then meets a girl, and that girl invites him to the Bunny Garden. And from there on out, you get to romance 3 of the girls in Bunny Garden. And depending, of course, on who you romance, right? It's also kind of like you work during the week, and in the weekends you go to Bunny Garden. And depending, of course, how you interact with the girls, how much, like alcohol you give them and how drunk you get them and how many games, just real games like Twister, you play with them. You get to experience new things with the girls. I have completed 2 of the 3 routes. Because it takes a long time to complete a full route, I was like, you know what? I'm only gonna do 2. And the other one I'm almost done, and I might next year complete the final route. It's not that my gameplay is gone, right? I did complete it. But yeah, I just couldn't complete the final one. Where I was like, you know what? It is what it is. I know that Bunny Garden is getting a second game where apparently the bunnies are, need to go home after a day of work and they are drunk. So I'm very curious to find out more about that game. But I just saw a commercial of it, and it should release, I think, somewhere now or maybe later. If I know when it will release, I will insert it in this video. But if not, it is what it is. Okay, we are almost at the halfway point, and this video is getting very long, so I'll only do one more, and then you can check out a part 2 of the other games that I completed. So the game that I completed on the 9th of April is Ys Origins, and yes, I want to start the Ys games, and I thought let's start with Origins first, and I love Origins. I played 2 of the 3 routes because I couldn't be bothered to play it a third time because everything is basically the same, only the story is a bit different. And I was like, yeah, you know what? I'm fine with only seeing two of the 3. So this one took me 12 hours, almost 13 hours to complete. And like I said, I rated this one a 95. It's a really good game. Really good game. I loved it. I loved everything about it. The story, the action, also the difficulty settings. Everything was just good. Nothing was too hard, but also not too easy. Everything felt smooth. The story, the fast pace of the story, not too slow, not too fast. It was just perfect. The only deduction that it got was that I had to do it 3 times in order to get the full story. And yeah, that's something. Again, I don't mind looping. I don't mind looping once, but don't ask me to do it 3 times because no, I don't want to do it 3 times. So yeah, that is where I'm going to end part 1 of all the games that I completed. Well, let's just say all the games I completed in 2025. If you want to see all the other games, go check out the second video, which will be up on the channel 2 or 3 days after this video releases. But yeah, thank you so much for watching. And as always, I say, miss you, love you, bye-bye.